Let's get started with some Midjourney AI generated art, which, I mean, is pretty cool. It has its strengths, but it definitely has its weaknesses. We're going to see if we can create something epic with it. And if it can't, then we'll have to fix it up ourselves and see if I can create something epic. When you put something into Midjourney, it'll give you 4 images that it thinks is the response to what you put into it, and you can work with that, or you can try again. First, you have to come up with a prompt to put into this thing to see what's going to spit out. So I asked for suggestions. Kobe Davis says, King Arthur rides Aslan into battle. I'm hoping for a heroic painting, but it might end up looking like trash. Haha. Which, oh, Kobe, you are wise. You are wise. I mean, AI, like I said, sometimes it can really give stunning results, but other times it leaves you wondering, what was it thinking? Obviously, it's creative. I'll give it that. So I just copied and pasted his prompt right into it to see what it would do. And here's the results. This first one looks like some human figure with lion fur, which is interesting. Not what I asked for. This kind of looks like something riding a something, but I can neither specify King Arthur nor Aslan in there. It's a cool composition, so I'll give it that. This is it missed the mark, and the head of the lion seems to be in the wrong spot or something. So one of the problems with AI art is it doesn't, I don't know, it can get some pretty basic things wrong. Like it can give good detail, it can come up with creative things, abstract things, it can give compositions. But when it comes to details, sometimes it struggles, and that's what it did. So of course you can keep trying. So let's move on to my next example. In this case, I said, okay, Midjourney, keep it simple. Don't go too crazy on me. I just added the keywords illustration/simple. And honestly, some cool results. This here in the bottom left kind of looks like Mufasa in the clouds, from Lion King. It's cool looking, but not what I asked. This is like a two-headed lion with what I imagine the Midjourney thought was like somebody holding a spear going into battle, but there's no somebody there. This one missed the mark. This one pretty much missed the mark. So I'm gonna give it another. If I were grading this, I would say D minus, maybe F. Like you got potential, but you didn't do the assignment correctly. Read the instructions. Okay, now I thought let's try something different. Unreal Engine, 4K, realistic. Give me your best shot. Like give it your all. And I think I reworded the phrase here a little bit, the prompt. But out of all these, I guess this one looks like maybe somebody riding a something. But again, don't see any details there. It's got some cool bokeh effects, some blurry, camera. But again, it missed the mark. So I'm gonna have to give it an F. I mean, it's a good try. It was a good try. Okay, I thought let's get specific. Maybe you don't know who King Arthur is. Maybe you don't know who Aslan is. I mean, it seemed to have, because it was close, but here I typed kind old king dressed in armor, riding on top of a large lion, facing an army for battle. Now, it missed some of my details, but we are very clearly getting something riding a something now. Like it's got the basic thing down, but again, missing the details. This has what, like 6 legs? And none of it is very clearly a lion. I can tell this was supposed to be a king, but it's missing a head. It's like a crown on top of a body. So again, interesting ideas, right? If you had artist block and just wanted to draw something, now you got a prompt. Well, I mean, you gave it a prompt, but it gave you a new prompt. All right, now we're getting somewhere. What you do here is you can add 2 colons to separate ideas. And sometimes I find that helps Midjourney parse out your instructions a little better. So I did King Arthur, space, colon, space, Aslan the lion, and then another set of colons followed by riding into battle against an army. And this top one, I think this is the best one yet, actually. You can see a little bit of an army here in the background. You can see what is very almost a lion and something riding it. So the composition is great. I just need to work on the details. These other 3, I would say, is okay. You can almost see a face in this bottom right one. So we're getting better. I guess the moral of the story here is to use colons. It helps it understand better. But I'm like, hey, can you even do details Midjourney? So I just said King Arthur, classical painting, realistic. And yeah, okay. It does know how to draw a face. It is messing with me because it knows how to, but it, for some reason, doesn't think King Arthur needs a face, so I have some questions for it. I'm recognizing its flaws while accepting there's room for growth and potential, and you know, that's okay. Regardless, I'm an artist. I'll fix it. And that's what we're here to do. This time I tried vector art, separating it with colons. It did pretty good. This top one, pretty cool composition, but not what I want. And then this last one, I tried to, sometimes if you combine themes, it works better. So I did King Arthur rides Aslan in a battle, but it's a painting by Edward Robert Hughes. And, well, we got this. I don't know what's going on. That's a funky looking face up here. But it did its best. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to take this composition, turn it into my own art, and we will get a proper King Arthur rides Aslan into battle. Let's do this. So to start out, I pulled in one of those AI generated images and some other reference photos from Pinterest and Google or wherever I found some to create a mood board to help me get started. And I was really excited and like ambitious in going to paint kind of like the AI generated art does and have all the details and the colors. And long story short, AI is a better artist than me. Hang on. We both have our pros and cons, but when it comes to like execution of details and fine painting abilities, I'm not a painter. I really don't paint a lot. I do more digital art and they're different, although I do like painting, but I'm digressing already. I should do that more often. What I'm saying is the aesthetic that I was trying to copy was the AI's aesthetic that it had compiled from all the artists that it knows about, that it learned from, and it executed it in its way. And I couldn't, frankly, I gotta be honest with myself, I couldn't match that level of aesthetic, even though I tried. And if I kept going, as I keep going here, you think maybe he'll get there, right? maybe someday. But today was not that day. I decided instead of executing this style, I wanted to come up with an end result that I was happy with, that maybe didn't match the aesthetic of AI, but at least addressed the prompt of King Arthur riding Aslan, and it was pretty good, you know, that it'll look pretty cool. So, because the main problem with this AI generation is that it would drop, like the form or the composition, no, not the composition, but it would mess up some very important details, basically, is it. So my goal here is to get the details right, maybe not have the same execution and aesthetic, but I did the prompt. I had fun drawing, I drew what was asked of me, and it turned out pretty good. So here is about where I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing, I kind of was getting tired, so I took a break, and when I got back to this, well, I decided to scratch it. So let's move on to take 2. This time I decided I'm going to do what I'm comfortable with when it comes to the medium, the mode of drawing, the aesthetic, whereas the thing that would be where I'd be learning and growing on this challenge was just drawing a person. And actually that was the hardest part. Drawing people for me is difficult. So I don't know. Maybe I didn't necessarily get better in this piece, and I'm always trying to be a better artist and improve and practice, but improvement takes practice, but also takes like focused practice, and there's a lot of things you can learn to get better at. Practice faces, practice texture, practice lighting, you know, all these things. In this case, I'm just practicing art. I was just trying to enjoy it and to have an interesting result. So here's what we get. After coloring it in, adding some shading and some details and a little bit of a background, this is my King Arthur riding on Aslan. And yes, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I think maybe highlights of this image, the hair of the lion is pretty cool. Got some cool colors in there and some cool little squiggly lines that denote that it has some volume, right? The face of this king looks pretty good. The proportions are not super great. I think the legs are a little short or something. I didn't measure out proportions like maybe I should have, so that's an area where I can improve, and that's okay. I'm always willing to identify what needs improved. other than that, like, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm not going to overanalyze it. So yeah, it was a fun drawing. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate hanging out with you, and I'm glad we get to do art together. Art makes me happy, makes me smile, and that's important these days. Work hard, be productive, but also take some time to relax and do things that make you smile. I'll see you next time. Have a good day, and remember to smile.